been a very interesting time for college athletics, not just in the last few days or week, but really for a period of time. And at the same time, I think we've had a lot of great things going on here. So really happy to talk about what any of you would like to ask me about in terms of maybe what we've done, what we're currently doing, and what the future holds. So whatever you guys want to talk about, just let me know.
Todd, I guess we'll start off with NIL since you just launched the new program. It seems like you guys have been really trying to promote that. How important was that in trying to keep up with the landscape of what college athletics is right now?
Well, I think it's vital. I mean, it's the new normal, at least for now. And we were ready for that, and we had a lot of behind-the-scenes conversations on it. And I really applaud Zach Greenwell and Olivia Higgins. I mean, those two really, did a terrific job getting us ready for that with both Influencer and the Hilltopper Local Exchange. And then we've got, John McCammon on the compliance side who vets things, and then Jim Clark's been very involved on the development side. So it's been all hands on deck for a while, but that's certainly something that we have to participate in, and I think we're as ready for it as we can be.
Todd, talk about just the transfer portal in general. I mean, you have multiple players coming in and out. Like last week, Jamarion Sharp announced he was entering the transfer portal. What is that like, and how do you guys handle that?
Well, I don't think it's ever been harder to manage a roster for coaches than it is right now. There's just been a lot of new things to the system at the same time. Now, predating all this, we had conference realignment, that's been going on for quite some time and will continue to. But I think if you just had the name, image, and likeness and you didn't have the transfer portal, or you just had the transfer portal and you didn't have the name, image, and likeness, that would be one thing. But I think the combination of the two has just made it very difficult for coaches to manage a roster. And like the best example that comes to mind is if you think about pro sports, everybody has a contract. And so ahead of time who is going to be a free agent, and you can plan accordingly. But the tough thing with college athletics as it is right now is nobody has a contract and everybody's a free agent every year. And so that change to the system is just a huge challenge for all coaches. But we'll figure it out, and I think we've already figured it out to some extent. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers today, certainly, but I'm confident that as we continue to evolve and grow within and obviously with our mindset that we have, that we'll land in a place where we can continue to be very successful.
Todd, when you say you figured it out to an extent, be more specific. Exactly how would you say that you guys here at Western have figured out this whole situation that Brett asked about, the transfer portal, NIL?
Well, I look at football, I think, and I could talk about other sports too, but I think Tyson Helton's done a very good job of utilizing the portal. And the advantage is when you sign somebody out of the portal, then you become their one-time transfer. And I think he's filled a number of voids, through the portal while not taking a step back. I mean, it's supplemented our roster, and that's just something that we're going to have to do. I don't know that we will always be 100% dependent on the portal, but I think to ignore it is a mistake.
I mean, there's been a lot of new things going to campus, especially the new softball and soccer facility that's going to be in. Talk a little bit about that, what it means for those two specific sports after such successful years these past couple of years.
Well, that was a long time coming, and I think that we were close to getting that going prior to COVID, and I think like most things in society, COVID put everything on pause for a while. But those two programs deserve that, the success that they've had on the field of play, the way they represent off the field of play, and that will really further both programs. I mean, first of all, they deserve it, but I think having a state-of-the-art facility on the site where they practice and they play will be a huge step forward for both of them. Well, it does, and really, it's part of an overall strategy that we've had for quite some time that I really feel good about. And I think first and foremost, our athletes deserve tremendous credit because they do a terrific job. And they do what they're supposed to do. But if we're only maintaining, we're falling behind. So we always have to be looking at things that we can improve, and I feel like we've done that. I think we've invested a lot into what I would consider to be the student athlete areas. I mean, we've invested into our strength and conditioning program. We've invested into our sports medicine and athletic training program. We've invested in our coaches, the facilities that you're talking about. We've invested in that. We've done some really good things with our facilities. That's coming up. We've got some exciting things coming up in addition to the soccer softball facility that hopefully I can get into down the line, not today, but down the line. And so, I feel really good about the things that we have done because, again, you have to evolve. But I think if you look at our athletic programs and just our athletic department as a whole, I feel like, for example, 5 years ago, we were in a better place than we were 10 years ago. I feel like today we're in a better place than we were 5 years ago, and I feel like 5 years from now we'll be at a better place than we are today. And that gives me confidence and optimism that obviously we're doing things the right way.
Not touching on that, since you talked about softball, we're exactly 1 week removed from that upset over Alabama. The softball team has their last regular season series of the year. No matter how the season ends for them, I mean, to see the success they've had and the other programs have had, how proud are you as an athletic director? What does that say for other future Hilltoppers who might consider being an athlete for softball, football, whatever sport it might be?
Well, I honestly, I've said this before, I feel like as an athletic program as a whole that we are definitely nationally relevant. I think we just saw through the NFL draft the respect that our football team has. And, I think what soccer has done in recent years is probably the high water mark for their program. Certainly we've talked about the success of volleyball. I mean, I think for volleyball to be 83-5 over a 3-year period, I mean, just think about that for a minute. 83-5 with 3 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances and 3 consecutive top 25 finishes is remarkable. And softball has done a great job. I mean, to your specific question, and to be able to, first of all, I give Amy Tudor credit to get Alabama to come here. I mean, they don't do that if they don't have respect for our program. So I think that validates the respect for the program. But, a major salute to all the fans and everybody that came out and the ultimate hype man, James Webster. And, that was a great night. I mean, that was, for those who were there, that was just a lot of fun. I mean, obviously a record crowd. I mean, I still can't get over looking out and seeing the parking garage, all 6 levels packed with people. I mean, that was remarkable, not to mention, obviously, all the permanent seating that was packed. And then that just gave us an opportunity. But then ultimately our players had to perform, and they did. And to beat the number 5 team in the nation just speaks volumes, I think, about them and where they are right now. And then this weekend, I hope we can replicate that crowd. I'm not naive. I don't know that we'll have 1,512 people, but if 1,512 want to be there, we'll find a place for you. But it's the last home series for them. It's senior day on Saturday. We're currently tied for first place. Have a chance to win a conference championship. And in the history of our program, we've never won a conference championship in softball in back-to-back seasons. So there's a chance to make some history this weekend too, and I hope people can make it out here for that.
And since you mentioned NFL draft picks, obviously D'Angelo Malone went home to Atlanta, Bailey Zappi to the Patriots. It's the first time I think in 4 years that you guys had a draft pick, and Malone, I think, was the 4th highest in school history. I mean, talk more about that. Just how cool is that when you saw his name called and Zappi's name was called, and when even Stearns and Kincaid got their free agent contracts?
Yeah, just really thrilled for those guys. I know how hard they work. I know how much time they put into it. And first and foremost, happy for them, happy for our program. Again, I think it just shows the national respect for our program. We had 2 players drafted in the NFL draft. Texas had none. Nobody in the nation has more resources than Texas, and they didn't have a player drafted, and we did. So I think that speaks volumes about our program. But to those guys, I mean, thrilled for D'Angelo Malone to be able to go back to his hometown. I mean, what a great situation that is for him. And a 3rd-round pick, the 82nd overall selection, I mean, that's a heavy investment by the Atlanta Falcons. So that shows you what they think of him. And then I think for Bailey Zappi to go to the 6-time world champions and play for Bill Belichick, I mean, what a great opportunity that is for him. And Jarrett Stearns, I mean, he could be in the same huddle as Tom Brady. I mean, what a great situation that is. And Antoine Kincaid goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, that's a great team right there, a great organization. And then John Haggerty getting drafted in the Canadian Football League draft. So just happy for all those guys that all their hard work has paid off, and they have great opportunities ahead of them.
Circling back to the transfer portal and NIL, obviously it's still new and people are still kind of learning the ropes, but a lot of people are calling for stricter regulations or more rules in place for some of those. I guess, what are your thoughts on that and the need for those, and how do you see the NCAA, their role in kind of enforcing some of those?
Well, those are good questions. The easiest thing in society is to identify a problem. I mean, that's easy. The hard thing is to identify a solution. And so there is a problem right now. And I know a lot of people want to pile on the NCAA, and I think in some cases it's deserved. but I don't think they deserve all the blame. I think you could spread a lot of blame out in a lot of areas. But what I would say is the NCAA is the governing body of our sport, and they have some people there that are paid extremely well. And we needed them to lead. We needed them to lead over the last 2 years, and they weren't able to do that. They weren't able to get us to a solution. We all kind of saw this coming, and nevertheless, we weren't able to avoid it. Again, it's not all their fault by any stretch, but we needed them to lead, and they weren't able to get us to a better place than we're at right now. And then the tough thing right now, it sort of feels like they're in the witness protection program. I mean, I don't even know where they are with respect to everything that's going on. So everybody sort of feels like there'll be some parameters put into place. I hope that there are. I think we just need a little bit of clarity. I mean, it's gone from a set of very rigid rules and regulations to the wild, wild west seemingly overnight. And it's crazy, some of the things that are happening. And the thing that concerns me beyond all the obvious stuff is ultimately, you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, and you want them to make the best decisions that they can make for their future. And I'm not sure that's happening as much as it should be. And I think the transfer portal in and of itself is a good thing. I mean, I really do. And I think a lot of people that go into the portal, it's a good thing for them. But the fact that you literally have the equivalent of 1/3 of the college basketball programs in the country in the portal right now, I don't think it's a good thing. When 35% of the players are in the portal, I just don't think that that's a good thing. And that's not going to be a good outcome for many of them. And I think back to, I think it was probably 2015, Frank Kaminsky was the National Player of the Year in college basketball. Wisconsin was the national runner-up. And his freshman and sophomore years at Wisconsin, he averaged less than 2 points a game, I believe. He hardly even played, but he stuck it out. And the end result of that was a great outcome for him personally and his team. I don't know that that happens today. I don't know that you have that situation today. And the other part about that, I think, and Dabo Swinney said this, and I think he was spot on, is when you're making decisions in a short-term vacuum, and especially if money is the overriding factor, yeah, you may win in the short term, but like he pointed out, and I think this could be true, I hope it doesn't happen, but I think it will in some cases, you're going to have a number of 25 and 26-year-olds that transferred multiple times, made decisions for the wrong reasons, and then they wake up and they're 25 or they're 26, and they don't have a college degree, they're not playing professionally, and they don't have any relationships because they didn't stay anywhere. If you stay somewhere 3, 4, or 5 years, you have relationships with your teammates, you have relationships on campus, and you have relationships in the community that you played in, all of which work on your behalf after you're finished playing. But if you never stay anywhere for a long time, you never have any of that. And those will be the unfortunate situations, but I really do think that we will see some of that.
Speaking of changing landscapes, I mean, we're going into a new year of Conference USA coming up with some teams leaving and some new alignment of football. How's it been dealing with the new transitions and dates changing and all the new opponents or different opponents that you're going to be facing this year?
Yeah, I think, obviously the conference schedule was adjusted with the departure of the 3 members. I think the following year is when we'll see the biggest change, because then that'll be what I guess I call the new Conference USA, when 9 of the members that we become used to aren't here, and then the new ones come in. So change is a part of life, and I think that you have to accept reality, and I think we've done that. And our goals don't change regardless of who we compete against, regardless of what league we're in or who we play. Our goals don't change. I think we've had an enormous amount of success, and we don't expect that to change.
Do we have any student athletes with NIL deals yet, or is it too early?
Well, this is what I can tell you. We do. I mean, because it came into place a year ago. So, I mean, we have a number of athletes that have had deals in place. But the encouraging thing too, and I think it deserves to be pointed out, is the Bowling Green community wants to work with our athletes. Through the Hilltopper Local Exchange, we currently have over 20 businesses that have signed up for that, and the way that works, again, not to get in the weeds and lose everybody, but through the combination of influencer and the Hilltopper Local Exchange, that's essentially a one-stop shopping apparatus for our athletes to go to to promote themselves. There's an educational component of that where they can actually learn about name, image, and likeness. It can help them identify their true value in the marketplace. It helps monitor their social media accounts. But most importantly, probably, is it allows them to connect directly with businesses. And today, we have, like I said, we have over 20 Bowling Green businesses that have signed up in the Hilltopper Local Exchange. That's actually the second highest number of businesses among any Group of 5 school in the nation right now, and it's more than a lot of Power 5s. So there are a lot of people that want to work with our athletes, and our athletes will have a lot of opportunities moving forward to monetize.
How important is it to get these local businesses involved, especially at a mid-major or a Group of 5 school? Any of them across the country where their athletes might not be getting deals with the bigger companies and stuff, in order to just get some of the athletes here or keep them, on the teams.
Well, I think, again, that's kind of the new normal. So it's huge. I mean, it's vitally important that we have businesses want to work with our athletes and vice versa, because there are a lot of other places where obviously that opportunity will exist. So it's good to see. I mean, and it's been going on for the last year. I mean, we've had our athletes have opportunities, but I think it will continue to grow more and more as we move forward.
Any other questions, Todd?
One other thing I guess I would close with. I mean, there's a lot of change, right? And there has been, there is, and there will be. But if I'm an athlete thinking about where to go to school, or if I'm the parent of a prospective male or female athlete, these are the things that I'm looking at. I mean, I'm looking at whatever place I go to, are they going to truly care about me as a person? And are they going to look after me as an individual? And here you check that box. Then the second thing is, am I going to leave there with a meaningful degree? At WKU, you check that box. The third thing is, obviously, if they're coming here to play sports, then they want to know, are they going to develop as an individual and have a chance to win a championship? I think that's obvious. You check that box. And then the last thing is, when it's all said and done and you leave here, are you prepared for the real world? And I think you check that box. We prepare our athletes for life after college. So those 4 things happen here, and then the ability to monetize themselves through, like I said, over 20 local businesses have signed up through the Hilltopper Local Exchange. I don't think there's ever been a better time to be a student athlete here than there is now. There's a lot of challenges out there for athletic departments nationwide, but I feel like we are poised to continue the success that we've had and actually even build on it.
Everybody good? All right, thanks, Todd.
All right, thank you.